What is going on, everyone? It's your guy, Cole Jackson, back here on Road Graders. And today we're going to be diving into why the Baltimore Ravens found success in the run game, taking a look at outside zone and wide zone concepts. Hit that like button, hit subscribe for me if you're new here, and drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the Ravens run game. Was it fool's gold going against a less than stellar front seven, or do the Ravens actually have something here? So I'm going to have this video kind of in two parts. I want to do the first part taking a look at the Ravens run game design and really kind of breaking down outside zone and why it's important. And then we'll look at the clips. If you guys don't want to, if you don't care about the explanation, use your little preview bar, scroll ahead. It'll only take a couple minutes, but I do want to go through it. Before I jump into it, this video is brought to you by our friends at Profit X. They are your go-to peer-to-peer market exchange. It is not a traditional sports book. That means you're getting better odds. Every $100 usually pays about $10 more on a bet than a traditional sports book. So go check it out. Use promo code ROADGRADERS. You'll get up to $200 $100 in ProfitX cash back using promo code ROADGRADERS. Go check it out. Okay, so what we're going to be looking at is outside zone, wide zone. So big question is, what is the difference? So just to start with zone blocking in general, I refer to it as railroad or train track blocking. So you can see from the design here, everybody's going to be stepping in the same direction and basically creating train tracks. And what that means is once you get on your tracks, you block who comes into your space. You're blocking space, not a gap run where you're designed to open a hole and the running back is aiming for that hole. So that means if it's zone right, everybody's stepping first with their right foot. If it's zone left, everybody's stepping first with their zone left. If it's inside zone, the aim point will be at the outside butt cheek of the guard. So this would be, to the left, it would be between Voorhees and Noteboom. But on outside zone, which is what the Ravens had success with on Sunday, it's aiming for the outside of the tight end or ghost tight end. So it's basically aiming for that, D gap type situation. And so this is really important because the question then becomes, what is Derrick Henry reading? Because he's not reading one guy. He's going to a space, and then he's reading the leverage point of his blocks. And so what that means is if he goes outside here and they set the edge, and let's say the end man line of scrimmage, EMOL, whatever you'll see people call it, EMOL, EMOL. So if they set the edge and they get their hat outside and they set that edge, they're going to look to cut back. And the best way to think about it is if the defender's outside, cut inside. If the defender's inside, cut outside. And so that's the key here. And so what Derrick Henry is reading is from the outside to the inside. So he's going to read the edge player or the end man line of scrimmage. So if a DB steps up, a corner blitz, whatever, whoever the end of the line of scrimmage is, that's who he reads. And then he works his way back, focusing on the defensive line, not necessarily the secondary. And so what he wants to do is he wants to leverage those blocks going from the front side to the back side. And so front side is if you split the center in half, where the ball is going, those are your front side O-line players. Your backside is to the opposite side. So this is really important because the Ravens, if you guys follow Coach Evans, he did a really good piece on this yesterday. He really focused on how messy it got on the backside, and he was bang on. I don't disagree with him at all, but I want to take a look at where they had success, why it was successful. And the big reason I'm hopeful for this is because the Ravens aren't going to be able to run that type of offense they ran last year with the pass protection, even with Lamar Jackson back. The pass protection just hasn't been good enough. But if you can run an effective zone run scheme, what it does for you in the zone bootleg game and what Lamar Jackson can specifically do with that once he's back, naked bootlegs, all that type of fun stuff that they could work into this, what they can do with motion, some of the stuff you say with Sean McVay's office or Kyle Shanahan's office, coming from that Shanahan tree, that becomes an option for the Ravens to implement to try and carve out an identity. And that's why this was so important to me. The Ravens have lacked that identity, and this gave them one. So let's dive into the plays. So we're going to start here with what would be wide zone to the left. And so wide zone versus outside zone quickly. It's always hard to tell if it's wide or outside zone. What you'll see is outside zone, you want to get the running back outside of the aim point. So if it's the aim point is the outside butt cheek of the tight end, we want to get that running back outside. Wide zone sets up cutbacks. So what you'll see is if Jared Verse, number 8 here, if they're running wide zone, let's see he takes a harsh step up on Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is going to just let him go and seal him out the back because Derrick Henry is going to read outside to inside. That hat's outside, cut inside, defender outside, cut inside. And so you're basically trying to set up those cutback lanes. And that's where the backside, and that's why Coach Evans talked about it so much, because they did that a lot in this game. That's why those backside blocks are so important, because once he cuts back, that's where you win in the run game. It's with those backside blocks. So we start here. And so exactly what I'm talking about, I will pause it quick here once the play gets rolling. So right here as Jared Verse. So this is what I mean. So Jared Verse comes up hard. Ronnie Stanley goes to block him. They veered Mark Andrews into the second level. So there's hat outside. He's going to read inside to 91. 91, hat outside. You see where Derrick Henry's eyes are? They're back inside. And so he just reads gap to gap to gap. So he went C gap, B gap, and now he's cutting through the original A gap. And then Tyler Linderbaum's getting into the second level here. Gets a little ugly on the backside. You can see Daniel Falele missing a little bit. Roger Rosengarten comes out, didn't really have anyone to block. We'll run it back. So focus on the backside. Focus on Falele and Rosengarten. You see Falele, he's just so awkward in space. It kills me. And then Roger just doesn't really know where to go. But still a successful run play there. And Tyler Linderbaum excels really well in this. So you're going to see the motion Zay to the left side. And what that motion does is watch those linebackers flow. You see how 51 and 53 kind of flow with the offense there? So that's where motion can become a weapon in this. And then they're going to go back to the right. And there's just that zone run, right? So again, you see 0 step up. He's going to read hat outside. He's going to cut back or find that next lane. And that's exactly what Derrick Henry's going to do. Roger's going to let him do that. I'll just play it through once here. So there's that. And you can see right there, Daniel Falele climbing up to the second level. Tyler Linderbaum overtaking that block. You see Andrew Voorhees getting in there and finishing a block. Play it through one more time fully. Really nice execution from the guards, actually. So you see Daniel Falele climb after passing to Tyler. If the guards could play like this consistently, we'd be cooking in the run game. Now you're going to get likely motioning across. They're going to get 13 personnel, 3 tight ends on the field, and they're going to run to that strong side on the left. And there we are. There's he setting up those cutback lanes. So this is the beauty of these zone runs. So again, Derrick Henry is going to read outside to inside. Jared Verse takes that outside shoulder of the tight end. He's going to read inside to 91. He's working outside, so he's just going to keep cutting back. And there's Daniel Falele making it. Well, say something nice about Daniel Falele. Nice overtake block here from Daniel Falele. Look at the leverage point he has there. Tyler Linderbaum climbing to the second level. There, creates that lane. This zone running can be so much easier because you don't have to get out and drive block guys. You just have to get out in space and basically get in the way. That can be so effective. It's a finesse block. And with this line not being able to run downhill and really drive guys off the ball, this is the perfect type of concept. And you kind of limit their numbers advantage because you leave that backside, the backside edge player, you kind of leave him be. You focus more on working those front side players, and you live with the backside edge player if he does a chase down tackle. But chase down tackling Derrick Henry is not easy. We're going to get another solid one here. This is going to be, I believe, to the right. Yeah, to the right. So there's likely just going on the split block, a split zone. So likely he's going to cross block here. He starts across from Jared Verse. He's going to come back to the backside edge player. So this is just a bit of that. And then right here, you see Daniel Falele, Tyler Linderbaum getting into that second level. What we want to see here is Linderbaum overtake that block. Daniel Falele keep peeling into 51. That's exactly what he's going to do. Nice blocks, really good, solid blocks here in space. Working out pretty well, decent work on the backside there. Doesn't stay consistent, but looks really good here. Nice block here from Roger Rosengarten. So we're going to focus on him first. So you see Jared Verse. Jared Verse is going to come down, shade right over Roger Rosengarten, and they basically commit 2 guys to the right side, the right side of the offense's B gap, so between Falele and Rosengarten. Then they bring 37, their safety, and he becomes the end man on the line of scrimmage. And so on the backside. And so watch Roger Rosengarten's cutoff block. See how Verse is just aching to get across there? Look at that cutoff block from Roger. And he's just going to box him out like it's a rebound in basketball. See him just kind of box out. This is what I mean. He didn't need to drive him off the ball. He didn't need to, be a mauler. He just needed to make a finesse block. And that's why this can be so beneficial with the personnel they have. But they need to be athletic. On the front side, if we focus there, you're going to see Falele and Linderbaum lose a little bit of leverage. So right here, as Voorhees tries to pass off and get into that second level, you see Linderbaum trying to overtake that defensive tackle from Voorhees as he climbs. Voorhees, really solid block. He lands, see that arm of Voorhees right into the linebacker? He gets off that block really well. If Linderbaum and Falele take care of that backside a little bit better, Derrick Henry has a nice little gap there. Still a positive run, but Voorhees moving really well in these zone runs, in my opinion, especially compared to what we've seen in the past. I know the bar was pretty low, but you're seeing it right there. He's being a little bit more effective getting into that second level and being athletic. I think that's been the big thing. You're going to get split zone on this one again. You're going to get Stanley. This is going to the left. Stanley's not going to drive 57, and so he's just going to wash him out. See right there? Again, defender outside, cut inside. That's exactly what Derrick Henry does. It can be so simple, so simple. You see Falele end up on the ground. Roger end up on the ground. This is what Coach Evans was talking about, that backside being pretty ugly. And like I said, he's bang on, as he usually is. So you're going to see right here, they're going to work a backside double, Falele and Rosengarten. This should be easy work. This is where they need to be a little bit more effective. Ideally, what we'd have here is Falele working through 95's inside shoulder and getting into the second level to 51. Roger would take that over. But as Falele goes to climb, he basically gets pushed by that defensive tackle, and he ends up, creating a bit of a pile there. So Falele ended up on the ground. I think I have 11 plays in this cut up, and he was on the ground in 4 of them. We just haven't got to them yet. So there was fall number 1. It's been my huge issue with him lately. You're going to see Verse step inside here, and you don't see it on your screen, but so we saw this previously where Verse would come down and then a safety would step up and fill. You just can't see him on the screen. And so they're going to run to that right side. So that's why Roger ends up going so outside. See this Verse already swimming Falele. So right here, there's Falele on the ground again. If he would have taken care of Verse the way he was supposed to, Derrick Henry getting into that second level, but he had to shed Jared Verse. And that's what Derrick Henry can do so well, is he can shed those tackles, make guys miss, which is super important. But this is where that front, so if we focus on Daniel Falele here, he needs to overtake that outside shoulder, and he basically just gets Verse goes with a smack in the head and then brings his outside hand over to create that. So now Derrick Henry, rather than getting up to full speed, has to take care of him first, which he does. But again, you're preventing him from hitting that full acceleration. So I know I talk about Daniel Falele enough. People get mad. I don't really care at this point. He's not athletic enough. It's stuff like this that drives me crazy. They need to be an athletic team that can get bodies into the second level, seal blocks, move guys into that second level. He gets into the second level and he gets lost. Here's a prime example. Like, I'm not just speaking out of my ass here, I promise. So you're going to get Kolar motioning across. They're going to run to the left side here once we get. So there goes Kolar. We're going to run to the left. So remember I was talking about covered, uncovered? So right here, you have Tyler Linderbaum and Voorhees have a 1 tech across from them. Falele and Rosengarten have a 3 tech. So if this is going to the left, Falele is uncovered. Roger Rosengarten is going to cut off on that backside. He's going to take that wide scoop step with his left foot, and he's going to cut off that inside shoulder. That leaves Daniel Falele with that full release to get into the second level, get into a linebacker, and move a body. He's got to pass off that block, which you'll see. So right there, you see that outside hand, his right hand pushes off. Roger Rosengarten is overtaking. You can see Tyler Linderbaum, getting a little bit of movement there. He's not as vertical as we'd like. We'd like to see him driving a yard, but he kind of gets pushed back here. And right there, this is what I mean. So if Linderbaum's able to drive his guy a little bit more, you would have that cutback lane. And then you need your backside to take advantage. You need Roger Rosengarten to finish that cutoff block, and you need Falele to seal that linebacker. And then you have no boom kicking. You have Voorhees climbing to 56. And this is what I mean. Look at Voorhees. Voorhees lines him up perfectly. That helmet is in the inside. He's getting driven. Henry's going to cut this, but look at this point. Daniel Falele is looking backwards. He's missed the linebacker, and he ends up running in a circle. Watch Daniel Falele on this play. If anybody tells you that you're hating on Daniel Falele, this is the play that I go back to. And you can't just say it's one play. We've looked at 3 already where he's ended up on the ground. He's going to go out in the space here, and he's going to block no one. He's going to run in a circle, and then he's going to dive on the pile. Like, I'm sorry. That is not NFL starting quality offensive guard play. You cannot be that unathletic. It drives me nuts that we have to have this conversation, and then people are going to call me a hater. It's unfortunate, but it happens way too often. Again, there's 11 clips in this video. 4 of them Falele falls down on. We get into wide zone here. You're going to get, I think this goes to the right. So there, see everybody, look at the Rams defense. Rams defense, let me go back here. Rams defense, they were setting the edge hard. Give them credit there. And they're washing them. So, again, this is why I think it's wide zone. They just took them that way, knowing Derrick Henry's going to cut this back. And so there's no boom cutting off on the back side. Voorhees is going to climb up. Linderbaum's getting a nice little amount of movement there. And then look at Voorhees. Look at that seal block in the second level. That's the difference between Voorhees and Falele in zone. Voorhees just did what it was the exact same assignment. He had to climb up on the backside and seal a linebacker. Look at the difference between Voorhees and that play before when Daniel Falele blocks nobody, chases somebody, and then just jumps on the pile. Right there. Voorhees gives him somewhere to cut. Look at Voorhees. Still on the ground. I actually fell at the end there because they rolled up on him. That was a little awkward. But you see the difference there. You can see the difference in quality guard play in zone concepts. That's the big deal here. Right here again, we're going to get rolling. There's Falele overtaking. And Falele's on the ground again. Another solid run. This one you get, this one's more of an inside zone. I just kind of kept it in. It's split zone because there goes likely, but same idea. Derrick Henry just doing what he does so well in these zone concepts. So that's what the Ravens did that gave them more success. It was that kind of transition back to some zone concepts where they've had success in the past. Where Derrick Henry's had success in the past specifically. I think that's actually a huge underrated part of this is that Derrick Henry, when he was having all that success in Tennessee, it was that wide zone, outside zone offense. Ryan Tannehill was, taking naked bootlegs because Derrick Henry was such a threat and running for 25 yards. Could you imagine Lamar Jackson being able to do that? So this is what I think the Ravens offense needs to get to. Whether or not they'll be able to do it and do it consistently, that's going to be on the front 5. But that's their path to success in the run game. Unlocking that zone game, I thought this was a step in the right direction. Use your bye week, gel. Maybe consider Corey Bullock at right guard. Who knows? Maybe Emory Jones gets back here soon. All that to say, I think there's something here for them to be able to uncover some success. That's all I have for you guys. Hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here, and thank you to our friends at ProfitX for sponsoring.